Okay, so welcome, or as we say in Holland, welcome to this Atmos Announcement Webinar. My name is James McLaughlin. I'm a business developer at Atmos, and I'm coming at you from the Atmos headquarters in Leiden, in the Netherlands. Now, you're all probably extremely curious from our social media posts over the last weeks as to what we have for you today in terms of our announcements. And I, for one, am very excited to be sharing our new branding and our new drone with you today. Now, first, a quick introduction to the Zoom controls. Down the bottom of your screen, you'll be able to see a couple of options there. The one I want to point out to you is the Q&A button. Now, if you have any questions during this webinar, you can, of course, put them into that Q&A section. I have some fellow panelists with me who are going to be doing their best to answer them during the webinar, but we'll also be covering some at the end of the webinar during the Q&A, so you guys can also get to hear the answers and perhaps deepen your understanding of what we talk about today. So let's dive straight into it. The plan for today is we will be firstly covering the new face of Atmos UAV, what we're calling the Cobalt release. We'll then be diving into our new Marlyn updates and our new software updates. We'll be getting our CTO, Sandra Hulsman, along for a technical discussion. And then finally, we'll be finishing it off with a chance to ask any outstanding questions, and I'll be doing my best to answer as many of them as possible. So the surveying world is a world which is constantly moving forward. So the task for Atmos is that innovation is necessary in order to stay at the front of the pack. Now, we work very, very closely with our partners to shape our future products. And what we mean by that is that you guys out there who are Marlyn users and Marlyn resellers, your feedback shapes the products that we develop here at Atmos. And we take pride in our close relationships with our distributors and our customers. So we reached a point, firstly, where we needed a new look that better represented this feedback we were getting and our growth and our future direction. So for our first announcement today, I'm proud to introduce the new Atmos look. So this is the new Atmos brand. On the left, you can see the brand new Atmos logo, and on the right, our new typeface. So in the coming weeks, we're going to be transitioning all of our products and all of our communications and touch points to reflect this new look. And the most important thing is that we've applied this branding and we've applied all of this user feedback to the upgrade of Marlyn that you've all been waiting for. So here it is. This is Marlyn Cobalt. This is the result of all of that feedback and all of that work that our engineers have been doing. And it's arguably the most accurate, the most easy to use, and arguably the best looking Marlyn that we've ever produced, with changes across the entirety of the product. As I mentioned, it's called the Cobalt release, and it's developed with the goal of allowing our users to plan their futures with precision. So let's take a dive into some of the changes, some of the features that you guys get as users. Well, in terms of the exterior, it's been strengthened and it's been simplified. So this simplified design has manifested itself in, firstly, easy maintenance. We've removed a lot of those moving parts, so Marlyn users will notice that there are no longer any elevons on the wings. We've also added maintenance compartments into various spots onto the drone. Now, what that means is, firstly, maintenance is a lot easier because these compartments are modular. Also, it means for those of you who perhaps aren't too close with us here in Holland, your local distributor can now do maintenance really easily. And that makes your job a lot easier as a surveyor when you have to take your drone out day after day. We've also massively strengthened the frame of Marlyn. It's got a significantly stronger tail frame. This means that she can much more easily handle rough landings in challenging winds. We've also changed the design of the feet to prevent Marlyn from skidding along the ground in high winds before and after flight as well. You'll also notice that the cover has been changed. It's reinforced, it's stronger, and it's also now attached magnetically to make your life a little bit easier. Now, aside from also the brand new, the completely new branding that you'll notice on the cover as well, most of these features are also under the hood. So let's take a look under the hood of Marlyn. So the interior of Marlyn has been massively changed with a focus on usability. So firstly, let's go up to the top to the payload module. So these payload modules have been made much smarter. Firstly, we've introduced cooling so we can massively increase the amount of pictures that we're able to take on a mapping mission. Also, all of those complex inputs and outputs from the camera have been condensed down into one single connector. So that means if you're out in the field and you want to change your payloads, it's a matter of just popping one payload module out and whacking in another one, and then your job is done. Going down to the batteries, we've now made our smart batteries even smarter. We've introduced LED indicators onto each of our batteries so that you know the exact charge of your battery without having to put it into the drone. Also, the PPK and autopilot have been given a massive usability upgrade. It's easier to transfer data than ever before because no more SD cards. We now have USB-C connections for the extraction of PPK and autopilot data. It's also dust-proof and it's much better for you guys in the field. But also some of the feedback that we got concerned operational things. So in order to do that, we had to basically overhaul the complete autopilot system to bring along some improvements for you guys operationally also. Now, firstly, these have manifested themselves in new safety features. We wanted to give you guys as pilots better peace of mind. And the way we do that is through new safety features. A new autopilot allows us to loiter in the middle of a mission. This means stopping Marlyn's current mapping mission and doing circles until whatever the threat is has cleared away, and then going back onto the mapping mission when you're done. We also have the ability to transition Marlyn from airplane mode to helicopter mode immediately at any point during the flight, which also gives you further peace of mind because that's just one more option you can use to deal with an emergency. We've also got the ability in the middle of a mapping mission to go up or go down by 30 meters. And that also allows you one extra option for that better peace of mind in any emergency situation. Also, this new autopilot allows us to have better controllability. For you as a user, this means that when you're flying in those high winds up to 45 kilometers an hour, your drone is going to be much more controllable. And then finally, a new autopilot allows us to be future-proof. So for you as a user, we want to bring you along for the ride when it comes to new payloads, new firmware updates, anything like that is much, much easier with our new Marlyn autopilot. Now, speaking of new payloads, we're also really excited to announce a new payload that Marlyn can carry as well. Introducing the Sony A7C. So further feedback from you guys as users said that you're looking for a more cost-effective survey sensor. So our engineers looked on the market for a sensor that was easier on the pocket, but also didn't compromise data and compromise performance. And so from this, we discovered and integrated the Sony A7C. This 24.2 megapixel camera carries a full frame sensor. This means that when you're out surveying, you can get GSDs as low as 1.7 centimeters without sacrificing flight performance. Now, this sensor is from a reliable manufacturer. It's from Sony. The Rolls-Royce of surveying sensors, the Sony RX1, is also made by Sony, and this has the same level of quality. It's also got a global shutter, and it's within the weight and size requirements for our payload module, so that's no performance degradation for you guys as users. And the best thing is, all of this is at around half the cost of an RX1 module. Now, speaking of cost, another bit of feedback that we got was also that they wanted to make Marlyn more accessible for everyday surveyors. So we also looked at that as well, and it's another announcement that we're super happy to be providing to you guys. So Marlyn is now even more accessible. We've made about a 10% reduction in all of our bundle prices across the board. So part of innovation is always making sure that you're accessible to users. And so on top of 10% reductions across the board, our base Marlyn is now 16,950 euros PPK ready. So on top of all these feature improvements, on top of new branding and everything, we also didn't stop there. We've also made improvements to our software as well. So our flight planning and flight operations software, which was previously called Marlyn, has now been updated to Navigator. So Navigator now features a new update to our new branding. It's got cleaner user interface and also has a much better usability. So that makes it a lot easier for you guys to go out there in the field and plan a mission with Marlyn and also operate Marlyn as well. Now we'll be revealing more information about this in the coming weeks, so stay tuned. But in terms of all this information, all the new branding, all the new features, the new Marlyn, where can you find all of this? Well, we're really, really happy to tell you that we've made a massive upgrade to our website, atmosuav.com as well, which I'm super happy to be able to show you now. So this is our new website. And those of you who are visitors to atmosuav.com from the past will notice the massive difference. So firstly, this new website features an interactive Marlyn. So you can take the hood off Marlyn and look at all the internals, get information about them as well. We also have a wind benefit calculator. So this allows you to go anywhere in the world and see the improvement that you get with Marlyn compared to other VTOL drones. So Marlyn takes off and lands at 45 kilometers an hour, other fixed wing VTOL drones at 30 kilometers an hour. So this calculator shows you how many days a year you gain as a surveyor from having that extra wind resistance. We've also got interactive data sets. So for those of you who don't want to download massive 5 gigabyte files, but you want to see some examples of Marlyn's data, you can get that on our website. So on the application pages, you're able to zoom in and out of some different data sets. You can download them if you like, but they're all there for you right there on the website. And there's so many more features as well. What I urge all of you to do, if nothing else from this presentation, is as soon as we're done here, close off Zoom and go to atmosuav.com and try these things out for yourself. I promise you will be very impressed. Now, to put a little bit more meat on the bones for some of the features which I've been talking about previously, earlier today, I had a conversation with our CTO, Sandra Hulsman, to talk in a bit more depth about some of the features and a bit of the story behind it as well, which we'll cover right now. Okay, so just been informed that there might not be any sound coming through that, so one moment. So now I'm joined by Atmos' CTO, Sandra Hulsman. And Sandra, you're going to give us a little bit of a run through of the features that we can expect with the Marlyn Cobalt release.
Yeah, certainly. Thanks, James. First of all, here she is, the new Marlyn, and you can immediately see that the looks are completely overhauled and are now aligned with our new brand identity. But that's not certainly the only thing we worked on. I think almost every component we improved it. To start, we've strengthened the carbon skeleton, the carbon composite skeleton inside the drone, and this allows, for the most tough landings in rough conditions to just go right. And then from the outside of the drone, we've added a lot of maintenance hatches and compartments through which the various subsystems are accessible for servicing and maintenance.
So the maintenance ports are where exactly?
Yeah, so you have, well, there's one here, and the other ones are on the other side. So I'll show you like this. This is airspeed sensor compartment, this is the telemetry compartment, and this is a compartment for the drivetrain of the drone. And if maintenance is required, you can just easily access the components from there. And well, furthermore, it gives us a bit more flexibility as well. So for people in different regions where different RF regulations apply, we can more easily configure the drone to those specific frequencies, for example. Now that's the outside of the drone. We also improved a lot on the inside and on the user interaction, and well, user friendliness has been, the top priority of these improvements. First of all, to get the cover off, We now have two magnetic attachments, which makes it really easy and user-friendly to take it off and to put it back on safely. And what you see inside here, well, for the people that are familiar with the previous Marlyn, you can immediately see that this is completely improved and overhauled. Here we have the compartment for the flight electronics, and this compartment is for the PPK GPS receiver, and that's for those people who want higher accuracy. You can add that as an option to the bundle, to the Marlyn bundle you're purchasing. And then here we have the two USB ports for data extraction and for firmware updates and those kind of things. Now here in the middle we have the battery compartment, so two batteries go in the drone. And we've made those batteries smart, so you know exactly the state of charge and the state of health of the battery. And now we have also added an indicator that shows you exactly how full the battery still is. So users in the field know, this one is half full, I can still do a flight. Or, if it's empty, you don't have to use that one again.
So I've got a stack of 10 batteries, and I can see which ones are ready for flight by taking it, pushing the button, and I can see the charge.
Exactly. Awesome. Yeah. And then another piece that really improved is the payload bay, actually. You see it here. So it's modular, and we've even improved the user friendliness of changing the payload modules. You can even now do it in the field in a really quick go. So you remove these retaining clips, and then you just slide the payload out like this. And there you have it. And then you can change it, for example, for a multispectral camera if you also need to have multispectral data of the project you're doing. The payload modules themselves also got improved, so we have passive cooling here, so this allows to have higher trigger frequencies, so more data collection. This one needs to be removed, of course. And then on the inside, we've really made the electronics look neat. And also to make the connection of the camera with the drone, we've now added this nice connector, and all these signals go over it. So we have full interaction with the camera through the Navigator user interface. And you can, for example, see how much storage you still have left on your camera.
Awesome. So I'm switching between RGB and multispectral. It is as simple as in the field, pulling my payload out, putting it back in.
It's as simple as this, and if you plug the new payload module in, you immediately see in Navigator, okay, I got this new payload module, this is it. So you know that everything got connected correctly. And furthermore, this allows us to add new payload modules as technology advances. And we also have the new payload module introduction of the Sony A7C camera, which is now also part of the payloads in our product portfolio. And yeah, that's a full frame 24 megapixel camera. Yeah.
Interesting. So out of all the features that are in there with the Cobalt release, is there anything that was particularly challenging for you guys as an engineering team?
Yeah, certainly. Actually, we had quite some challenging requirements to what the drone, need to become, which were also contradictory. So we wanted to have a high in-the-field efficiency, but also, the highest data accuracy out there. A really safe design, but still user-friendly. And it's challenging to match these requirements and make it actually become, a design that fulfills those requirements. But I believe we did that. So with this, Marlyn, you get scores highest in those points, in my opinion.
Awesome. And is there any feature on there that you're the proudest of as the CTO?
Well, yeah, of course I'm proud of the team who helped us getting here. But in terms of features, I think the high wind resistance of the drone and the safety and user friendliness.
So that's 45 kilometers an hour, takeoff, landing.
45 kilometers an hour, and you need that. I mean, we're from the Netherlands, so we're challenged with that almost every day. So.
Indeed, indeed. Oh, well, thanks a lot, Sando.
You're welcome, James.
So now I'm joined by... Okay, so in summary, from today's presentation, what I really want you guys to know is, firstly, Atmos has a new look. We have a new brand. We have a new website. We have new communication. Secondly, our hardware and our software has been updated with the Cobalt release. So Marlyn's been strengthened and simplified. We have new payload options. We have better pricing and many, many other features as well. And of course, this is just the beginning. So Atmos is going to be coming out over the coming months with even more updates, even more features, and then perhaps even a sensor update or two. And as Marlyn users, you guys get brought along for the ride, and we really look forward to sharing this coming journey with you guys. So I really want to thank you for joining me today. And obviously we've been talking a lot so far about us at Atmos, and we really want to give you guys the chance to talk about yourselves as well. And so my colleague's just going to put a poll up in which you can indicate whether you're interested in getting in touch with us further, or perhaps if you're happy with the information that you have for now. So what I'm going to be doing is diving into some of our questions. And if you just give me one moment, I will do so. Okay, so firstly, Julian McCarran asked, do you have the kappa, phi, and omega angles of the pictures embedded in the EXIF data? Yes, Julian, we do. So we have a software called GeoTagger, which is used for combining all of the PPK and image data, and also taking data from the autopilot and bringing it in there as well. And part of that autopilot data is the kappa, phi, and omega angles, the orientation angles of the drone at each timestamp that you speak of. And that can be used in the EXIF data or as part of a separate CSV. And that can then be taken into your photogrammetry software like Metashape or Pix4D or something like that. Julian McKern also asked, can you process multispectral with PPK? And yes, indeed, we can as well. Again, with GeoTagger, you are able to use PPK data with multispectral imagery, which is not something that all VTOL fixed-wing drones can do. Again, because we have the GeoTagger, which we've developed in-house, we're able to accomplish that, which is quite a difficult thing to do, because obviously with each timestamp, there are 5 separate images. So that's something that we're quite proud to be able to introduce as well. I also have another question from Julian. Where do you process the data to geotag the pictures? Is it on Navigator, or how do you manage different flights? So we do this processing in our GeoTagger software. So in GeoTagger, you do have the opportunity to upload data from different flights all at once. And we have a map, there's a sort of a visual map interface to show you how those different autopilot and PPK files fit with one another. However, what we find personally, and what we recommend when we're training people, is that for each flight, you separate all of the PPK image and everything data into individual folders for each flight, and then process through GeoTagger per flight. So it just makes your life a bit easier when it comes to organizing things as well. Is it fully compatible with European laws allowing flight also above densely populated areas, asks Michel Paul. So in terms of the new European laws, so they have been released as of the start of this year. However, the exact regulations for VTOL drones and fixed-wing drones have not been finalized yet in terms of the requirements, so the technical requirements to be able to adhere to those. So as the year goes on, we're hoping that the European authorities are able to make our lives a little bit easier by releasing a bit more of that information. And so we'll be essentially keeping up with that as we go along as well. And I do have quite a lot of questions on here as well, but what I'm going to do is we'll actually be answering those by email. For those of you who have asked a question, we'll make sure we get in touch with all of you. But in the interest of brevity, I will call us there. I want to thank you again for joining us. It's been my absolute pleasure to bring these new Atmos announcements to you. And for those of you who indicated that you wanted us to get in touch, we will most certainly be getting in touch with you. I urge all of you to go and visit our website right now and try out all of those awesome features, and we'll be seeing you for the next webinar.